Hi everybody, welcome back to Big OGGIE World. Welcome back to Kelly. Kelly is back in the kitchen after a couple of weeks.
I've just been really busy.
Holiday from, well, you have, yeah. I think people thought we got divorced or something and you'd left me.
Or you done me in and
or abandoned you in the garden.
Patio or something.
Yeah. Talking of the garden, we are using apples in our recipe today from our garden.
Absolutely. We are going to do a toffee apple bread and butter pudding.
Very autumnal.
It's autumnal, but also
Go on, say it. No, autumnal. There's no
I'm not doing this again. We had this argument for hours a week or so ago. We're not doing it again.
Yeah. It's seasonal.
It's a seasonal one, and it's coming up to Halloween, and it's coming up to bonfire night, and toffee apples are one of those things that are sort of like around a lot at this time of year. So our tree, our apple tree, it's only a baby one. We planted it 2 years ago. This year it gave us its first crop of apples. So we only had about a dozen.
Yeah.
And we're going to use 3 of them today, because the thing is, see, I can't eat raw apple.
No, you need cooked apple.
With me. But if I cook it, it's absolutely fine. So we are using a recipe from the Good Food magazine, although there is a slightly easier one from Lidl's that you can find if you so wish.
Yeah, it is based on the Good Food one.
The difference being that we are going to make a traditional one, as in we're going to mix eggs and cream and milk to soak our bread in, which will then obviously when we cook it come to some type of custard, whereas the Lidl recipe uses a tin of ready-made custard. Yeah. So if you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. It's going to be cheaper because you're just going to buy a tin of custard. But if you want to go a bit more of the traditional route, then the Good Food one's for you. The other difference is that we are using a brioche.
Yeah, we're not being posh.
It was actually left over from something else we did.
Another recipe. It's been in the freezer for some time, so we defrosted it. We're using it up. Lidl's one would use stale bread, which is another traditional thing you would use.
So if you want to just use your loaf of bread that you've got left, or if you even, because quite often in Lidl's they have these knockdown things, don't they?
Yeah, get a knockdown loaf.
If you get a knockdown loaf, then you've got a really good hearty pudding for your kids or whatever.
Very good.
An evening.
So again, it's not a particularly expensive recipe. That was the whole plan, even if we've got brioche and stuff, because again it's used up from the freezer. So we need to
do some prep,
prepare some ingredients, mainly the apples, and we'll get back to you.
See you in a bit.
Welcome back everybody. So we've just cored the apples. Okay, now we're going to cut them into rings and leave the skin on because it's healthy. Yeah. This
is an apple corer, in case you didn't know. It's like that, it's round, and you just go down through the apple. Don't be afraid. If you can see this one, it had quite a large core in it. This one had like a normal size core. So don't be afraid to go back in with the corer and take more apple out, so that you've got what you need. If you don't have one of these, you can still do it with a knife and a spoon, like a teaspoon, but you need to be really careful.
Or quite simply, you can just not bother with rings like we're doing and actually just make lots of slices and go round the core and just have a piece of apple. It's fine.
The recipe says to cut them into rings about the thickness of a 50p piece.
Which is about that, really. So we're going to stick these into a bowl. I'm going to put some lemon juice in. We say half a lemon, but it could be a lemon, just so that it
doesn't
coats the apple and stops it going too bad. So we'll come back in a second when we finish doing this bit. Oh my God, just lick my hand, love. Right, there's your apples.
Well, you're spilling it
on the side. With a lot of liquid in them from the lemons. We'll deal with that later. So there's also 2 tablespoons of sugar in this.
Golden castor.
Golden castor. So the other thing we're discussing is this. We're using a tin of carnation caramel.
Yeah.
We have to say carnation caramel because no one else does this as far as I know.
No, they don't. It's a new, well, I say new, it's been out for years, but it was a new thing that Carnation make, because obviously you can buy condensed milk, and if you're going to make caramel, you had to boil a tin
of
condensed milk, which I always thought sounded very dodgy, quite
No,
frankly.
you just stick it in a
yeah, but you have to lay the lid on it.
Yeah, I know.
And I was thinking that's going to blow up, but hey, anyway. So, but now they've made it so that you can just buy the caramel
I'm
already.
actually surprised they never thought about it years ago. Should have been done so much longer ago.
It's quite expensive.
It was about £3.50, but I did get it in Waitrose. I don't normally go to Waitrose, but I did passing yesterday, so I grabbed one. Probably a bit cheaper elsewhere. But it's a tin of caramel. Use it for making our shortbread, etc.
Oh God, it's lush as
I
well.
know. Yeah, leave it alone. You need it in this.
And as you can see, I don't know if you can see,
It's very
but it's
thick.
quite thick. So that's good.
So what we do now is we're going to layer everything together. Then we'll make the kind of custard mix. So let's do the layering. We've got a deep dish. They're saying a 20 by 30 centimetre dish. We've got whatever we've got.
The thing is our 20 by 30 is quite shallow, and obviously you don't want something too shallow because you're going to put a lot of liquid in it.
Well, that's the hope. So
to start off with, I'm going to put blobs.
yeah, 2/3 of the tin goes in the bottom.
Because it's so thick, it's going to stay.
Yeah, you're literally going to have to spread it about, aren't you, with a palette knife or something.
Just use the back of a spoon, John.
Or use the back of a spoon. Let's say be able to find a palette knife. That's good. Because of course, since you haven't been in the kitchen for a while,
Yeah, exactly. I had our job finding me.
things have moved around a bit. Yeah. I can't believe I just created more mess at the end of that camera with that bowl than I've done ever since I've been doing cooking. And maybe it's your influence.
See, I make you nervous, do I?
Yeah, that's what it is.
There we go. So, nice layer of caramel in the bottom.
Okay.
And then we are going to layer. So what I've done with my brioche is I've cut it quite thinly and I've cut it into like triangles just so that it goes in easier.
It's the same as you would with stale bread,
Exactly.
really.
So I'm going to put them in.
I'll show you a little close-up of that if I can.
And then I'm going to put apple in the middle of them. It doesn't need to be pretty. It's, you know, we're not going for a pretty dessert here. We're going for a delicious dessert.
So it's just overlapping, just can keep going until you've used it all up, really. Okay, so you've done one layer already, just overlapping.
I've done one layer with like an apple and a piece of bread. An apple and a piece of bread. So what
Now we're
I'm
just
going
going
to
to do another one.
is I'm going to do a whole layer of just apples. Because, you know, apples are the star of this,
They
really.
are the star of the show, aren't they?
Like that.
Yep.
And then I'm going to do another row of bread. And stick an apple in the middle again. If I do it that way around, maybe.
Okay, so like I said, once you've basically ran out of apple or ran out of bread, or have filled up the dish that you've got, then what happens next? I believe we then start dotting.
We dot the
rest of the
caramel
caramel.
around so that we get like, you know, nice blobs of caramel here and there. That'll be a nice little treaty bit. If you get the bit with the big gooey bit of caramel, you've got the best bit. And then the next thing is that we're going to make up the custardy stuff. That in half.
Yeah, stuff's the right word. It's not really a custard, it's not
like,
really a sauce.
It's eggs and milk and excuse me, and cream.
Eggs, milk and cream, if you didn't get that.
And then we are going to pour that over. Perfect. I'm going to put these tiny bits left on the top just so that we don't waste any of the apple. I can't believe how white our apples are in the middle.
Just something you just don't see. It's a very old-fashioned apple, which is why we picked it. It's a classic one. You don't see it in the shops.
So there we go. Like I said, we're not going for absolute prettiness. We're going for unctuousness.
I was going to say you want to lick that, thinking it was the caramel, but
No,
actually
it
it's
wasn't.
going to be
Actually,
lemon.
what I did yesterday was I stabbed myself with a knife, and now it's got lemon juice in it. And it's like stingy.
I don't know why I've let her back in the kitchen, to be honest. Right, so
we're gonna
blob your way around with that, and then we'll put this to one side and we'll make a custardy sauce. Right then, darling, what have we done?
In this jug, I have put 400 ml of whole milk.
Whole milk,
Important, whole
Yeah,
milk.
proper milk.
Not skinny milk.
No.
And 200 ml of double cream. Again, double cream, not single cream. You could potentially use whipping cream if you don't have double cream because it's sort of kind of the same, but don't use single cream.
No. So we've
And
got
don't
those.
use clotted cream. Not
No,
clotted
because
cream
that'll
either.
be no good. Unless you want to use it to eat with after.
So those two are in this jug. And into that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. See that? I didn't even hesitate.
You did, you
that
got it
time.
right that time. One reason why it's a custard, because custard is basically vanilla.
I guess you could use vanilla paste if you've got the
Yeah,
paste.
if you've got paste.
Which we actually have managed to get, but we'll finish using the extract first. And then into that, we're going to add a tablespoon of the golden castor sugar again.
Yeah. we're keeping 1 tablespoon back for near the end of the actual cooking process. If you looked at the ingredients already and what there's for.
And 3 eggs.
Wouldn't be an egg custard without an egg.
So I'm going to break my eggs first into a cup, just because we don't want bad ones, not that they would be, but we also don't want
shell. So once you put all this together, we're going to give us a little bit of a whisk up and we'll be back. Okay, so there's the pudding without its creamy sauce.
I've just whisked that up and now I'm just going to pour it slowly over everything.
Try and get everything coated if possible.
And then we are going to leave this in the fridge for at least half an hour, but the longer you can leave it, the better.
So you can do this overnight if you wish, or do it in the morning and then cook it in the evening. That's the best one, I think. Probably, do it in the morning and then cook it when you need it, really.
I mean, if you left it overnight, you're not really likely to have it for lunch, are you? Well,
No.
Maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe you would if you had a Sunday lunch. I don't know.
I think my suggestion is make this up in the morning, use it when you need it later. Perfect.
There we go.
So there's going to be bits sticking out on this, which is great. They'll go kind of crispy, and there'll be gooey bits as well. That's what we do here. So we're going to wrap this up in cling film, pop it in the fridge. Now we will tell you when we come back about the preheating of the oven, but we don't need to do that yet because it's going to be a while. We'll see you, well, in at least an hour, I reckon, don't you?
Yeah, we'll see you a bit later.
Okay, then we're back.
Hi everyone, welcome back. So this has been soaking in the fridge for an hour, hour and a half at least. And it's looking lovely. So the next stage is to preheat your oven. It's a low oven, so it's 150 fan, 170 if you don't have a fan, and
That's
John
Mark 3.
says it's gas Mark 3, but that will be checked. And obviously, as always, he will put the full ingredients at the bottom and all the temperatures and everything, so you don't need to worry about that right now. It will all be at the bottom for you. Now, the recipe did say to use a tablespoon of golden caster sugar to sprinkle over the top before it goes in the oven. I am not going to do that. I am going to use a tablespoon of demerara sugar. Demerara is just a much larger grain, crystal, whatever you want to call it, and I think if I put that over it, it's going to give that extra little bit of texture. It'll be a little bit crispier, a little bit crunchier.
A bit stronger as well, I think.
Yeah, slightly, but again, it's caramelly.
More caramel, yeah.
So I think it'll go really well, and I just think it'll be a nicer eating experience, shall we say. Oh, very posh around here. Not.
So ideally, suggestions for serving this would be cream, clotted cream, or we're going to have ice cream with ours.
We are going to have ice cream. I mean, you could technically have custard if you wanted, but I think if you put custard over it, you'll lose the caramel sort of appley texture of it. It will become just like a normal bread and butter pudding, and that's what we're trying to go away from it.
We're actually looking at the possibility of getting something called shipwreck, which is a new made local ice cream, which is kind of, well, it's honeycomb.
Shipwreck is caramel and honeycomb and vanilla all sort of melded in, and you get like lumps of, if you like crunchy bars, you get pieces of crunchy bar.
Well, if you can get yourself a honeycomb vanilla, that
like
would be
that,
perfect.
or just a really good vanilla would be just as good.
Would be good.
So, but you need something a bit sort of yummy. So this is going to go in the oven now for 40 to 50 minutes, and that is going to depend on the thickness or the depth of your dish, and also the depth of your bread. So for instance, I sliced ours because it was a loaf quite thinly, but if you use the finger rolls as is suggested in the recipe,
brioche rolls, so they're quite thick,
yeah, you might sort of cut them a bit thicker. So whatever to suit you, put it in for 40 minutes, check it. It should be lightly golden brown, it should have crispy bits on it, it will have the caramel bubbling through it, and it should basically be almost set.
Yeah, don't eat it when you bring it straight out of the oven though with bubbling
Obviously
caramel.
not, because you're going to really burn yourself. So this is going to go in and we'll be back later. Okay, So apparently, since I've been out of the kitchen, we speed up the finish.
I've tried to speed things up with the editing process, so you don't need to see us bring it out, dish a bit into a bowl, give it a taste. You know it's going to be good. We'll just take a picture.
It says I talk too much. I don't know where he gets that from. I really don't.
You ramble.
Anyway, so once it's cooked and it comes out, it's going to be a hot molten mess. Don't do anything with it for a little while. Let it sit. That's my advice anyway. I will show you a picture of it in a dish with some ice cream at the very end, because apparently this is speeding up. So thank you very much for joining us. Hope you subscribed. If you haven't, please do hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That's the important one, because you never know when we're around. We're trying to be a bit more consistent, but it doesn't always happen. So notification bell, you know when we're here. And above all, enjoy your cooking, and thank you very much for joining us. So we'll see you all again really soon.
Bye.
Bye for now.